Chapter 1. You cannot attach a more precarious tag to a man's name and reputation these days than to label him an outstanding Christian. Disciples of our affluent, image-making society promptly envision some kind of ecclesiastical oddity. Clergymen, to be sure, ought to be men of God, but for us laymen to seek the divine life is another matter. We should be dynamic in our communities. We should bolster the nation's economy. We should build and scheme and flex our muscles. We ought to attend church and contribute to its material needs, but we are not to be men who pray, men who take the Bible at face value, men who witness. I realize this is the day of the hippie, the draft card burner, the rioter, disciples of the Hindu ashram, but these abnormals run in packs, and in their conformity to fattest nonconformity escape the disdain encountered by standing alone. What a sorry state we are in. Well, if being serious about one's faith is a social error, I plead guilty, but with neither remorse nor apology. It is being thought of as an oddity that unnerves me. Not from a matter of personal pride, however. I'm upset about the whims of a society in which spiritual hunger and fulfillment seem to have become so abnormal. Let me attempt an explanation. My name is Stanley Tam. I'm a layman, a businessman. By many marketplace measurements, I've succeeded in business. I like to sell, like to introduce new products, like to watch volume grow, like to make money. Recently, the Dun & Bradstreet representative from our area went over our books and told me we had the most vigorous growth pattern of any comparable firm in our area. Right now, I'm giving careful thought to another of a succession of expansion moves in our two corporations. But although my business requires long hours at the office and constant surveillance and promotion, buying and selling is really no more than an avocation with me. My first concern is to succeed as a Christian. Let me state that a bit more definitely. My prime effort in life is to be obedient to my God, to serve Him, and bring credit to His name. Yet I insist I am not purposely trying to be a nonconformist. I'm not some overaged hippie, not an iconoclast, but a reasonably average human being. Average? Well, maybe I should strike that word from the record. Not so much as it pertains to me, but as it relates to God's potential for both you and me. For in the world as it is structured today, we should not settle for the spiritual plight of the average man. I can understand the plight of being average in mentality or in physical endowments, because I surely qualify in both categories. But I do not understand why so many Christians read a Bible abounding in promises to make them something beyond themselves, and yet settle for a spiritual vitality so mediocre as to seem virtually non-existent. Consequently, the Christian who becomes demonstrably involved with God is looked upon as the rare exception, far above the established rule. On the contrary, it is my conviction God intended the full, rewarding life to be every person's birthright. We deny ourselves God's best for us by our own default, our impaired and often corroded sense of values. In God's sight, I am convinced the oddity is the man who misses his mark for Him, and the norm is the man who discovers the Christian life in all its dynamic perspective. That's what Christianity is, the discovery of life. No, even though obedience to God is my greatest concern, I do not consider myself an oddity, nor am I trying to be different. I'm human, very much so, and I struggle to keep pride from blighting my Christian witness.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.